Yo, just waiting, doing some the stream stuff right now. Where else should I? Instagram, I guess. Threads. I know a lot of people who are joining Threads right now. Just waiting for some people. I'll get started in a bit. Just getting some BGM while I'm at it. Love this fisheye filter, it's so cool. Oh. I'm not producing currently. Alright, I'm just trying to get this link. Where is it? We do it on mobile. You know what? I don't know. I guess just because most of, at least as far as I know, most of the audience right now, at least for me, is on YouTube. I am curious on Twitch, but it's just that I don't know. I've never really liked the platform for some reason. And I've heard it's only kind of getting worse too. I try it though. I mean, I really like how they have like a lot more kind of community features. That is kind of the cool thing. But I think YouTube is just, I don't know. I have a lot more reach there, I guess. Okay. Alright, I sent the story. I think we're pretty much good now. Go to Ableton. Pull up the Chrome here. Alright. Where's the stream? This is the stream. Hello! Okay. What's up? Hello. Yes, this is Mr. Miles Per Hour. I'm gonna be breaking down a new track. You guys may have already heard it. I'll be playing it here in a second. But yeah, what's up? Yeah, I've heard it. Like, they had a lot of controversy over like was it the 3070 thing or whatever? This is Ableton gameplay. This is ranked, Ableton ranked. Early diamond. All right, that's enough Counter-Strike. Okay. Yeah, this is garegga. I'll just play like the first kind of bit and the drop here. Then we'll kind of get down to breaking it. Yeah, go ahead and ask questions while I play this so I can get started on something. Whoa. Thank you, Sky Medica. Alright. Here it is. Might chug a little. I know, right? yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. There's like a cool jungle breakdown. I don't know if you guys want to hear that, but yeah, it was like my first time finally releasing a dubstep track. I mean, I have released before, but I feel like this is the first proper one in my what I feel is like my more kind of structured style, like the 90s elements and whatnot. Yeah, it's been doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy. A lot of people seem to like it. It took a while to make. I think I started this around close to a year ago. I feel like it's, yeah. I initially started with what is it, the bass here, because I was a lot of my music, especially this, I feel like it's super Sizzy inspired. So this is kind of like in my Sizzy era, and I honestly I think I still am in my Sizzy era. Yeah, 7 Movement. I will be talking about 7 Movement because that is super important. And I picked up from watching some Sizzy, the Sizzy Devire stream and just listening to their music in general. It's just, yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, sine waves are cool. Yeah, I don't know what to break down first. Drum bus and mix bus. I don't do buses. I just go straight into the clipper. I have like a whole video on it, but like with dubstep in general and just loudness master. Actually, I think, yeah, okay. Actually, in this master, I did use a maximizer and OTT, which I don't do often, but I think this just comes from like the Sizzy the phase where I saw them do this, and it sounds good. I think it actually does kind of make the mix sound a little bit better, but it's not a normal occurrence. But I guess, yeah, to start with, basically, yeah, Endless Smile is just to do some automations for like builds. So you can see that there. It's pretty much just for that. I keep it on the master because I like to affect the whole thing. That way there's no like weird clashing. Everything's kind of in the same mix. Bass mono, utility, I don't even do this anymore. This just shows how old this project is, but you know, everyone knows the utility and width, which is the gain and stereo width trick where you like lower it during the build. We got OTT and Ozone 9 maximizer, which is just, it's literally just like on the stock, was it the 3 style or whatever, or one of them, and then the threshold. It's very subtle, but it's just trying to squeeze as much. But again, I don't do this often anymore. And then we got G-clip like always. My more modern mixes will literally just be like just G-clip at this point. I don't even, I'll have a utility for like a build automations, but nothing, I don't really need anything else. And this is just like analyzer stuff. Let's go. Oh, that's the old skin. I use like this other skin now. That's crazy. And yeah, Swiss armies are really good for checking LUFs. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the master. And again, everything, as far as I know, isn't being clipped in its own bus. Yeah, so everything's just going straight into the master, which I've mentioned before. I'll kind of create some more, what is it? It kind of just like forces everything to kind of work with each other as opposed to kind of being in its own lane. Drum EQ? I don't really EQ drums either. It's because I make all of my kicks. Okay, well, there is a bit of like a kind of taming here, but the reason why I started making my own drums is because I couldn't find good kicks, so I just make the kicks good at the bass level and then just work with that, which has helped with my workflow and getting that a good sound. Oh, the painful sound system. I think that's a barely live rec. It's basically just supposed to emulate like a really bad speaker set in like a venue. Here, I'm gonna lower it just in case, but I don't think it's gonna be too loud. Like if I had it on. Oh my god. It's just basically like to kind of emulate like if you were in a venue. Yeah, I'll be leaving the stream ups. I see no reason to take it down. But yeah, yeah, very little drum EQ. The most I do is just like a bit of taming in the mids because I like to push through Transient Shaper. And actually, if you notice here, this is kind of made up of 2 layers. Oh, they're not playing. What? Oh. So I have like a simple one with just no high end whatsoever. It's just a bit of like distortion, but I like to keep it pretty minimal. And it's all being run through the G clip like always. And then we have a transient from the Matzo, which I've mentioned before is really good for transients. I just like EQ the lows In this case, I actually already kind of EQ'd them out. You can see it's kind of like just noisy. And then I dip a bit of the low mids. And then together, they kind of sound pretty fresh. Although this is pretty aggressive. I think if I were to make it now, I would lower a bit of the transient here. Yeah, I guess, yeah, let's go over through drums first, because I think that's a pretty solid, group to start with. So, donate, I think so. I think I have a Streamlabs. I'm not sure if it works. I haven't set it up or anything. Yeah, looking at the waveforms of kicks especially has helped my workflow so much, because it's much easier to choose what kicks work and whatnot. Like, I can immediately tell that this is like a very soft click kick, but it's obviously doesn't have a really high pitch, so it's not gonna be clicky or zappy. So I can just, and also just because obviously I made this one, so I'm very familiar with it, but having like a kick that you can rely to really helps with the workflow. And I feel like it's something not a lot of people often talk about. People just gravitate to more processed samples, which I think is really hard to make work in any mix. Yeah, again, transient shaper like always, because I do that. Oh yeah, here, let me just play the drum loop by itself. Oh really? Oh, it's okay, you don't, I'll set it up in the next stream. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see. I think there's, oh yeah, no, I don't think I have the YouTube one set up either, so yeah. I'll try to figure it out. I think I might still have to, like, what is it, enter the partner program or whatever YouTube calls it. I need like I think 4,000 hours of watch time. But that doesn't matter. If you want to support me, you can always get the sample pack, so there's no fuzz about that. And if you just want to send a message, you can just type it in chat. It's not like I'm not going to read it, so don't worry. Let's see here. Yeah, drums by itself. Why is the tag there? That's funny. Yeah, pretty simple. Literally the same kick throughout, but and obviously on the second we have the clap, which is made up of a couple layers here, which I don't normally do. Well, actually no, this is not even on. I think this is the alternate. I'm gonna leave that there just in case. So with the rhythm claps, transient shaper, again, same thing. I actually like to boost the sustain a bit to give it a little more presence with the tail. But a cool trick that I love to do is add delay at the end. I'm gonna turn off all the parallel reverb and stuff, like kind of dry, but the delay gives it like a very cool dub effect, which makes sense. And almost kind of, if it's very noisy, it can almost ring out like a metallic tone, depending on like how consistent the noise is. Like I think, let's see, do I have anything on here? No. Oh, they're all being processed the same thing. Okay. If I turn this transient shaper off, you can, there's like a cool clap. I think I made the clap pretty metallic already, so that's why it sounds like that. But with delay, it just rings out a bit more, and it sounds really cool. All I do is I put it at I think this is 16th pretty much, 50% feedback and 17% on the dry wet, just so it doesn't overtake it. It just makes it sound really kind of slappy, you know? It's nice. And then this is just some parallel reverb to give it some more boost, which is literally just yeah, it's just like a super dry wet, basically, just so I can control the actual volume of the chain. Small size reverb is the best way to get your drums and basses to sound really nice and wide. And I think, I don't know, once I started using like small size reverb, my production just kind of like went up. I don't know how that works, but it really helps give it a bit more presence. This is like a snappy one. I don't even know why I have this. I think this is from the Matt Zo, the second sample pack. And this is another similar one. Just Matt Zo's claps in general were pretty good for rhythm back then, like in 2019. But nowadays I just use them as layers sometimes, but I've gotten to the point where I can just start making my own Matt Zo-esque claps, so I don't really use them that much. But they're great. They're great if you don't have like, if you like happen to have the packs already. And it's pretty much that. It's very kind of simple. and they're all going straight to the master, which give it a lot of oomph. If I were to, like, I don't know, turn this down, let me just turn off the hats here. If I were to, like, reduce the peaks, they're just kind of like there, and you can, I don't know, they sound too natural. I kind of like it when there's a bit more bump to it, but not to a point where it's like super distorted, like a whole style or something. Also, if you noticed, we got what is it, where we have a bit of wide noise here, which is just a cool way to hide a bit of the distortion happening from the kick. Although the transient's already doing quite a bit of that. If I were to mute this, I think it'd be a better example. Oh, but yeah, that's a great way to do rhythm drums. Pretty much my method for the whole thing. As for cymbals, you just simple kip it on the downbeat and then alternate a bit. Do some nice like ride movement. It's actually, this is I think pretty intense for the hats I do nowadays. Also notice how like what is it? There's a fade on these hats which give it a bit more splash and they don't sound so like you know, aggressive. That's a great way to kind of make it sound a little smoother. The phone sound. Oh yeah, the wheel up signal. What is it? Where is it? Yeah, I remade it from scratch. Where is it? I think I showed this in the jungle video too. But it's basically just like a square LFO pitch thing. I just took a bit of it and then put it in here. It's easy. What's wheel of, yeah, wheel of silence supremacy. Yeah, I think that's pretty much for drums. I mean, there is the build, I guess. But I guess we're going through drop. Yeah, let's go with drop first, I guess, and then cover the rest because that seems more interesting. Effects, good drop effects is just to put a bunch of like detuned saws, pretty much. So as you can see, like on the first two, it's got a set pitch, and then it goes up an octave in the second half here. And it even goes higher on the last bit. But yeah, that's a great way to kind of add more tension. It's literally just like detuned saws, so they're pretty atonal, but they still have like a bit of that kind of, you know, shepherd tone type of riser effect. You just have it on the downbeat, and then on the second. And this is more of like a rising kind of thing. It is called a dub siren, yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they made that for Wheel Up tune for what is it, Wheel Up? I think it's called Wheel Up. It's got a name. It's a jungle track. How could I forget it? I think it might be DJ Gunshot. I might be wrong, but yeah, that's a very iconic sound. I wonder if they knew about the legacy. They obviously must have. But yeah, I just usually have these kind of these siren type effects. And then followed by some offbeat chants. This is some random cymatic stuff. I think I would process it a little more nowadays, but it's kind of silly. You barely hear it. The delay here is giving it a lot of room and makes it sound a little more rhythm-like. What else do we have here? We have this, yeah, we have like a diva vocal chant with just some chorus to give it some kind of fake detune thing. And then there's this cool reverse effect that I like to do on the like into the clap or whatever, or like on the the offbeat, but it goes into the actual beat. So this is like it's like a subtle like like a, you know, whoosh effect. Really, 94? Is it before 94? That's interesting. Yeah. That's super interesting. Yeah. I always remember stuff by like Sonic releases, so anything that's like around Sonic CD or before is always just so interesting to kind of find out. Because for me, that's like a very defining uh, era in like dance music. That's really interesting. Um, yeah, we got some whooshing, and then playing with all of these like kind of like chopped up. They're basically kind of like chopped up and segmented effects that they kind of work well together. I think there's some washout. Yeah, I like to do like a bit of a like into the next downbeat. I'll introduce like a wash up or like a washout automation here, and it goes a little higher at the end of the section. So this is like the break, so that doesn't need it, but I'll just repeat, then it goes into the new section. It does the same thing pretty much for all of the tracks. Yeah. So that's a great way to just give it a little more dynamic movement. What else? That's pretty much it. I guess we could talk about the vocals. Vocals are pretty cool. I really like how they came out because they're kind of very stylish. We have, I think this, yeah. Oh. Oh yeah, this is the glass effect. This is the what's up, sucker? Oh, what? Play it. Come on. What's up, sucker? I actually don't know where this is from. I generally would tell you guys, but I don't know because it was just a random upload my friend sent me like, honestly I want to say like 2 years ago, like 3 to 2 years ago. My friend Luna, I think I know by Glenn now, but they just sent me this really cool like random sequence. It must be from like a sample CD, but I have no idea. It's just like some cool chops, probably for like maybe DJ scratching, I imagine. No, I haven't gone over sound design. We're going through like effects. We're kind of going down the ladder here, but we are starting with the drop, so stick around, yeah. And it's basically just like, I was actually sped up. Let me turn that down.
Come on, Bucket, get up. What's up, suckers?
And it's really just that. It's kind of silly, but I really love these vocals right here.
Get up. What's up, suckers?
So I decided to take it and do a bit of, I think there's a bit of stretching on it. Oh no, it's just complex, so get kind of like that classic dubstep morphy tone.
Come on, Bucket, get up. What's up, suckers?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. A very cool sample. I love that. Shout out to Glenn for sending me that. And what else? I think that's pretty much it for effects. I guess now we can go into risers. There's literally just one riser. I need to start using more risers in my drops because clearly there's a very clear difference in the usage here. But it's just, yeah, like put a riser at the end of sections so that way they have a bit more transition. Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll get into Sizzy. I guess we could go into that now, but we can start with the downbeat. So this is the basses, the cool stuff. So this is actually an Ableton skin I made, but it's literally just the Nasco skin, but I changed it to appear purple instead of like the red. I don't think it's anywhere because I made it myself. But if there's a way to make it public, I probably will. I'll probably be on Ableton themes, so I'll do it later today. And I'll link it after the stream's over or whatever. But yeah, this stuff was super cool. I love this kind of sound design, like the granulator type of sound, which is what I did. So obviously on the downbeat, I have to have my rave steps because that's just what I'm known for, I guess. So as you can see, it kind of switches from mono into stereo, just to give it some nice splash. So I put on the downbeat to give every bass sort of a tonal sound and make it sound a bit more, I guess, color bassish, but not really. It's just some hype, as opposed to kind of like a typical offbeat chord type thing that you hear in dubstep. I like to have it be a little more washed out, and by hiding it behind the drums, as you can see if I turn on the sidechain, it's just very subtle. Parallel effects, I don't. Yeah, I don't really do parallel effects. Just like unless it's like a plugin that doesn't have a dry wet mix, I'll use a parallel like chain within Ableton by just like, for example, if I group this EQ here and then go here, create a chain, and boom, that's parallel. And that goes if I like, split bands, but no, I don't really use any of that just because I feel like it overcomplicates. Just have the dry wet as normal, you know. Because they usually, yeah, most plugins usually have that nowadays. But yeah, raise tabs are cool. This is the one I made. I think it's in the pack. This is main. I don't know why I named it that. 8095. I don't know where this is from. Oh, it's 95. Stab 95. I think it's from like a giant rave stab collection I got a long time ago. But I rarely use these now. But it's just like some weird dissonant major or minor. It's just like a minor chord, I think. Which give it a bit more kind of classic air, and it's not super bright, you know. But that's pretty crucial to give the whole song some kind of like melodic element, and I think it makes it a little more memorable. The first downbeat hit here is this like cool granular fill, which is pretty cool. I have it freeze because it's kind of, I don't know how if it saved it because it was just a sound design jam. I think yeah, parallel does have a use again, but usually I only really use it if I need the like original signal to be at the same volume, and I just want the actual effect to be a bit more complementary. But the dry wet, at least in Ableton, the effects are pretty solid to where the gain compensation isn't strange at all. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just the workflow that I use, but I like to be pretty direct with my effects. If I unfreeze this and it doesn't, does it stay there? Okay, cool. So the reverb's gonna get annoying. I'm gonna turn that off. So this is just a granulator. I'm just doing some scan. Basically, the way kind of granular stuff works, it's yeah, the granulator 2 is pretty cool. It comes free with Ableton Live Suite, so I recommend checking it out. It's basically Ableton's granular synth. What I'm doing here, so you can kind of like automatically scan through the waveform. Those who know, granular is basically a synthesis where like you take a sample and then you just stretch it, and then it stretches so like either like super fast or super slow to the point where you start to get some different tonal properties. And by scanning it super slow, you get some super stretchy, robotic tonal because the cycles are just repeating so fast. Then we have grain, which is like how long those segments are. So I'm basically automating it to be a little faster as I go, you know, as the sound moves on. Almost like if you're scanning like a wavetable like sample, but in a much more extreme way. And this, yeah, it's pretty cool. I just have some OTT, but I do have this instant disc, which I will talk about. Yeah, as you can see, it's like super like static. I love it. It's so cool. But there's instant distort, which does add a bit of latency, which I'm probably not going to use as much. Adds that kind of cool spectral gate sound. It's basically like a Max for Live version of a spectral gate for free. You can just find it on the Max for Live forums or whatever. Yeah, you just turn the filter on and it basically creates a gate for each band of the frequency. So each frequency is going to be gated based on the volume of that frequency alone and not the whole sample, which creates some very washy, lossy type of sound effect that you often associate with like phone calls or MP3 files. No instant dist. What? No instant dist. It's instant dist. But yeah, instant dist is pretty cool. Just this is what I used before I started to get a Digitalis. That's my go-to spectral gate, but this is pretty great if you don't have that because it's free. And I like to put OTT after spectral gates just to get a bit more of the I almost said Hoya. That would have been embarrassing. With ODT, it's going to bring out some of the artifacts that you lose, and just makes it sound a little more digital and dubstep like, you know. OTT, it's the king. What else we got? We got the other one here. I'm gonna freeze this just in case. Oh yeah. Yeah, the store's pretty cool. Then we got this other one. Again, same process pretty much. There's nothing different. You're just stretching the sample. In this case, it's a VR bass hit that I think comes from a. Oh shoot! I didn't mean to do that. I just want to find the original sample. I'm not sure where it's from, but I'm pretty sure this is a granulizer sample. So I'm basically chucking a granular sample into Ableton. Granulizer is the FL granular plugin. And you can actually use it in Ableton just by installing the FL Studio demo, and then you can actually open FL Studio as a plugin within Ableton and use the sampler from there, which is what I often do for rhythm like sound design, because that's what Sizzy usually does. But all of these are kind of being layered with these cool stretched out spectral basses I made with Melda plugins, I think, which is going to give it a bit more like high-end crisp and just give it a bit more to work with, you know. And those are the downbeats. Time to get into the actual sound design here, which is super cool. Let me open this up. Whoa, okay. Yeah, so basically, let me turn all of this off and just walk you through. I don't need to use this codecs anymore. Close this so it's not so in the way. Okay, so back to FL Granulizer. I don't know what I chucked in, but I think this is just. Oh no, is it not? Huh, wait, let me stretch this. Huh, oh, I guess not. I thought I used the FL Granulizer for this, but I guess not. Here, let me get the full sample here so you can see what we're working with. Okay, I think it's like a like a vocodex rhythm bass, like just some traditional like detuned saw wave with a volume envelope. You know, no random, so the phase kind of disperses and you get that laser effect. And then just running it through like some disperser, and like you can tell it's got a bit of like that resonant band effect here. But what we're doing here is that we're making it kind of fast and then adding a volume fade here. And then all the processing is going to bring out a lot of the kind of chewiness of it. First we have is delay smear, which is just the spectral time, but we're not actually using the delay effect. We're just using these tilt and spray stuff to kind of move it around. I have it like in this, like, what is it, Ableton rack, because it just simplifies the view. Phaser flanger to give it some rhythm kind of like movement. Oh, it's not playing. Whoops. Let me do the before and after. Oh. Gives it a bit more like kind of chewy movement. Phaser. As you can see, it kind of like goes low and you get a bit of that delay effect because of the flanger. Then we have Fat Rack, which obviously is just compressing and distorting a bit, and then you have a bit of a small size reverb to give it a lot of width. I don't know why I have this Pro Q. What is happening? Okay, I guess I'm trying to tame some kind of resonant mids. Weird. And the main thing here is Mad Shifter. Now I have to let me do this real quick because I feel like this is gonna, yeah, okay, we're good. All right, it's because so Mad Shifter is a 32-bit plugin, which Ableton normally doesn't actually support, which is kind of dumb. I wish Ableton will eventually get 32-bit plugin, but we're kind of past that nowadays. But basically, this is a free plugin called Match Shifter by Toby Bear, which is a 32-bit plugin from like, you know, old times. And it's basically like a frequency shifter, but it's kind of stepped because it actually is based on like a pitch, like a 12 note scale. And it's just very interesting. The thing is that it's a 32-bit plugin, so in order for you to actually get it to work in Ableton, you have to get a plugin, or I'm sorry, a software called JBridge, which will convert that into a 64-bit plugin, so that way you can use it in Ableton and just kind of bridge it together. The thing is that at the bottom it tells you like your email and stuff, so that's why I have it, and I have to kind of go out of the stream here for a bit. But yeah, this thing's awesome. I mean, what? Ableton is doing something. We're not? Okay, we're okay. That's weird. So as it's here, let me make a separate one so I can show you just what it does. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So again, it's basically just your standard frequency shifting. We just destroy all of this stuff. Oh, it's not on. Whoops. Or it might just be like a pitch shifter. I'm not really sure. But it also has this cool delay feature, which will allow you to give it a bit of feedback. But if I just turn this off, you see when it goes super low, it starts to get a bit of aliasing, which makes it sound super crunchy. Then you go up, it still is. I think this just might be more of a pitch shifter now that I think about it. It might not be frequency shifting. I thought it was, but I think it makes more sense if it's a pitch shifter. But it's really weird. It's basically kind of like the grain delay, or what's the Sound Toys plugin, Crystallizer, something like that. Basically like that, but it's an older version, so it sounds terrible, but it's really cool. In this case, what I'm using it in the song for is that I'm just using some here, I have to do this, sorry. I'm basically running it parallel, sort of, by having the dry wet at 43-ish%, which what it's going to do is that, if anybody knows with like shifting or like any kind of like what is it, yeah, like shifters, like pitch or frequency shifting, is that if you have it at like a dry wet mix, is that it's going to start to phase with the original sound, and that's going to make it sound a little atonal here. So as I bring this up, you can kind of hear. Which is just being more brought up by the fine movement that I have here, which is being automated. And I just have it like 2 semitones above, so it's not that big of like a difference, but that atonalness is going to make it sound a little more washy and very noisy, which I associate with a lot of kind of sizzy tracks. So yeah, that's pretty much how I went about getting that sound. That's like the main gist. And then we have EQ here, which is just cutting lows like normal. Soothe. Actually, I feel like it might be a little less intense. More like 42. Yeah. Soothe 2, just to control a bit of the high end, because you never know, spectral stuff can be a little weird. You have this make loud, which I do not remember how I think it's just Milda spectral dynamics. Oh, it's just saturator? Huh? I have no idea. Okay. I have no idea. It's literally, okay, I'm just making it louder, I guess. Oh shoot, what did I delay? Delay, which is a fantastic, this is a cool trick that I love to do. I'll put ping pong on 16th notes, and then it's just gonna do like a slapback when you have it at 0% feedback. So you get a bit more kind of stereo movement there without actually having to like just stereo with stuff. Soothe 2. Once again, EQ to remove a lot of the muddiness. Another one. and then G clip, just to clip it all off. Yeah. And that's pretty much the bass, and that goes for all of these. They're just basically variations on the original sample. So if I turn these off, you can kind of hear the difference. Oh, let me turn off this vocodec. Yeah, I don't know why the vocodec like stopped working like halfway when it was making the song, so I kept it. Yeah, just some classic, you know, different flow variants. But I'm turning up the feedback a bit on these, which is giving it a lot more of a kind of that classic grain delay sound. It sounds super crystally. And yeah, that goes for pretty much all the rest of these different variants here. This one does have frequency shifting before the match shifter, so you can get a bit more kind of playful with the melodies and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the first drop. You just have these cool bass fills, the rave stab stuff too. It's just like, you know, some cool, funny movement. Bum, 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 bum. What else do we have? I guess the bass is all that's left with this. This is just a sub bass. We got a serum. It will open. I think, yeah, it was just some sine wave. We have a bit of a rotation for noise. We're just distorting it like super. And then vibrato, which is pretty key. And again, I'm dipping like a ton of the mids here, which I think helps because when you combine it with the noise, you get a lot of harmonics, which cover up a lot of the space that otherwise the bass would use. So I like to reduce it, and it just makes it sound a little cleaner and more boomy. What we're doing here though is that we're messing with the pitch a lot, which gives the song a lot of movement. It doesn't sound so boring, as opposed to like a static kind of gun bass sub, which I think still works, but with rhythm it's really fun if you can mess around with the pitch of the sub. So it's literally, I'm just making a movement up to probably like the 5th or something. I think it's set to 12 note pitch bend or whatever. And I'm following the root note of the rave stabs there. Same thing here. And yeah, it's pretty much the exact same movement, but there's a bit of like kind of fun stuff here with like this pitch down. And on the second half here, actually, instead of going up, it goes down. It's just, you know, makes the bass sound like it's alive. It's a really cool trick. On the second half here, I do have this vibrato, which turns on, which I will get into. But vibrato is also a great way to get some cool bass movement to make it sound a little silly. And on speakers, it sounds pretty cool from what I've heard live. And that's pretty much it for the first drop. If you want to go into the second drop next, or maybe go into kind of the more intro sections and breakdowns, no, I will leave it up to you guys. Let me just go ahead and fine. Oh. Fills and pickups, the end of the beginnings of 4 bars. I mean, pretty much, I just like to, this is drop B. Why do I call it drop B? The breakdown? I'll get into the breakdown, yeah. So the fills, a lot of it just kind of comes from like, I don't know, I try to mimic a lot of rave stuff, so the fills are usually the only part where I can fit it into the drop section, so a lot of times it's usually just rave stabs, like in the second half, I'll put rave stabs at the beginning, which have a bit of an interesting melody that progresses. And this part here kind of like transitions. But yeah, usually that's what I do often. And then the basses here are just, I don't know, I like to kind of create a cool sound and then go into a more rhythmic section. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess the effects also kind of help a lot because they add a little more movement to the whole structure. Like that laser there, especially. Which usually I try to play it like when silence kind of starts, you know. Also, like any cool like sound effects from like sample CDs. I try to always sneak in something either from Jet Set Radio or Sonic CD, just because out of respect. In this case, this big band is actually from. It's from I don't know where the sample CD is actually, because it's just kind of grouped in this Jet Set Radio sample pack thing, but. It was used in What About the Future? No, Bach Fresh. Not What About the Future. Bach Fresh by Richard Jakes off Jet Set Radio Future. So I want to put it here because it's kind of cool and funny. It's a very like a breakbeat type of thing to do. And the vocals and stuff really help. And this we call it the mileage stab, but that's just because Pierre Bourne used it. But it's like this. Cool little scratch effect from Zero G data file, maybe. Might be Ecstatic Goldmine. It's one of those two. Those two just kind of collide together. But this was used in Sonic CD, the start of Speedway. Oh no, that's the other vocal. Wait, do I not have it here? I thought I had the mileage tab here. Wait, what? Huh? Oh, okay. I guess it's not here. What? I'm seeing things, I guess. I thought, okay, never mind, that's just the. Oh no, it's in the beginning here. Yeah, right? No, what? I swear it was here. What? Okay, I guess I'm seeing things. I gotta be seeing things. Yeah. So I guess that's the song CD mode. This is the turn it up from start to Speedway, which I think everyone knows. I swear it was here. Huh. And then once again. Wheel up sound, and then more cool reggae stuff. If that did it. Stretch a bit. Kind of cuts off there. Yeah, just throwing in cool stuff. This other junglist one. And it cuts off, which is compared to like the more delay ones. No, what's this hip hop one? Oh, never mind. I guess it's just not being used. I swear I had the. That's so interesting. I really thought I had it here. Huh. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much how I do fills. I just try to cram in all of my extra cool elements. In this case, it's a lot of 90s sounds, so I'll throw in stuff from sample CDs, kind of rave melodies and bits, and yeah, and like occasionally like the cool bass growl or sound design jam thing. Yeah, I guess we'll go into the breakdown. I think that kind of ties into the intro too here, though, so I guess we'll go back into here. The intro is very inspired by like just general 90s video game soundtracks. It's kind of hard to pinpoint which one because a lot of these sounds come from multiple, but I guess the main would probably be something like the Sega Saturn titles, either 3D Blast, Sonic 3D Blast, that is, Sonic R, any of like the Virtua Fighter games, especially Thunder Force, a lot of kind of like those very kind of fresh sounding soundtracks that are super energetic, and Street Fighter EX, which it's just kind of my favorite types of music where it's like very complementary to the action that's happening. So I try to kind of maintain that. And Battle garegga, which is where I get the name from. The song's name comes from. Which is a really cool shmup. I've been getting into shmups lately. It's super hard, but the soundtrack is freaking awesome because literally just like, I think it's 8 FM channels and then like 4 audio channels, and it sounds fantastic for the arcade. And I basically try my best to recreate that. Also Jungle. Jungle's a big inspiration too. I forgot. Just in general, Jungle, the kind of music theory behind it. So usually I'll start with just by making these melodies that have a what's the word, like a modal interchange, parallel chords type thing. In this case, I have this melody here that's just this chord progression, I think. It's just like it's basically like a big chord breaking down with a bit of a kind of octave movements here, or inversions, yeah. So as you can see, it's the exact same chord, or arp, I guess, in this case. Wait, what? Huh? Oh, it might be like looping. Yeah, okay. Whoops. Right? Yeah, okay. I'm just like adjusting it based on the, like the, you know, from the sections as it goes on. Yeah, it's a very nice piano. Yeah, basically just like I'll find like romplers from like games used back then. A lot of the kind of famous ones often were like the Corgan one, the JB1080, maybe a Sound Canvas or the Wave Station. Kind of like those really early, very bright and crystally ones are my favorites. And I'll just kind of basically make my own video game soundtracks using them. And I might do a stream on that. I'd love to just make a bunch of video game stuff on stream. But yeah, basically, yeah, we got some piano with a bit of downsampling and delay here, which is going to give it some nice crystally action. And I have a bit of multiband compression to just brighten it up a bit. And same thing with the choir. Basically everything is just like piling up. Yeah, pretty much that's the whole gist of it. We do have a race, which is like the only kind of modern element. Which I think is literally just a serum. Yeah, it's just a serum patch. Yeah, 10 unison, but an octave and a fifth above. So get some cool kind of interesting chord-like movement because the fifth on top. OTT, bass mono to make sure nothing gets super stereo and weird, and then G clip, then G clip again, and then you know the low pass it stuff. Pretty simple stuff. What else we got here? The honky piano. Just another piano, but it's very transient heavy, and you have a bit of detune with the chorus. And then of course the pads. That's a good question. I don't know why I clipped the reeds twice. I think I wanted to like maintain the dynamics of the reeds first, so that way there's a lot of headroom for the rest of the more kind of fragile parts like the piano and the choir. So I think that's what I initially wanted to do, but I just realized I could just low pass it. Oh, whoops! I just realized that I could just low pass it, and then I clipped it again, I guess, just to double check it. I don't know, I'm really like that. With bass stuff, I don't really care too much about dynamics, so I try to be as mindful of the rest of the elements that have to kind of fit with the bass. So that often leads to me overcompensating in terms of like, you know, keeping the space separated, in this case with the dynamics of the track. And then yeah, pads, we got the awesome dueling lead. And as you can see, if I show this corporation here, I think this shows it a little bit better. But we're basically going from E minor 9 up to F sharp minor 9, which these two notes are not in scale of E minor 9. So it's going to sound out of key, but in a very uplifting kind of jazzy way. which is very common. And obviously this is due to back then a lot of kind of just producers back then in general just didn't have access to these super expensive synths, so the best they could get is just like a chord sample, and that would mean that they'd be basically working with only one chord shape, which gives you this very iconic rave sound. Or just E, F, and then down to D, which is a very simple movement. But it all still works together. It's not super dissonant, it's just very jazzy, which I love. It's my favorite type of movements. And I'm doing the same thing here with this U lead. So we start at E minor, like we said, so this is in key. So we get a bit of that cool meets the lick, which I love to do. And then this stuff is out of scale. But if we switch it to F minor, or F sharp minor, my bad, now it's in scale, including that movement that we did, that lick. So, which is, you know, basically you're switching scales, so you have this cool modal interchange melody. And then when we move to the D minor, it's also out of scale, but this kind of the introductory thing here just makes it sound a little interesting and mysterious, you know. Yeah, it's like my favorite kind of stuff to do. And you just hear that stuff a lot in video games, which I love. It's just fun, you know. That lead specifically is used a lot by Richard Jakes, who did the music for Sonic R, 3D Blast, kind of like the more interesting kind of house-oriented Sega stuff. I love. And we're also layering it with the Fantasia lead, which is, you know, the iconic D50 patch from the 80s that's very sparkly. Together layers, but when we go into the build, the actual like synth lead drops, but we still keep the Fantasia, which just makes it, gives it a bit of like consistency. And yeah, pretty much, yeah, got rave stabs. What's doing that movement? I think it's just a frequency shifter. Yeah, frequency shifter. It's going up, so you get some cool phasey, you know, atonal stuff. And that's the intro. I guess the build kind of actually, yeah. I guess the effects here are pretty important too. Which is a lot. I try to make some like very kind of exaggerated, classic kind of trance effects with the risers. So we have this cool Vengeance drop here. Just a ton of layers. We have a bunch of effects. It was like super over the top that you would normally hear in like trance stuff. Some more whooshy stuff to make it a little more interesting, and of course your cymbal reverse stuff. Then the claps come in, give it some energy while the lead is still playing. Got this break here. A little more tonal lead coming in. And that's pretty much it, yeah, with the build. It's really hard to explain how builds work because you just kind of layer stuff. I don't even know how they work, to be honest. But the best way to just go about it is just, you know, add stuff and keep adding it, but make it change a little over time so it's not so static. It might be. I don't know. I try to really emulate that classic 90s sound where there's a bit of kind of amateurness to it, but obviously in a more kind of, conventional way. And yeah, I think like super like exaggerated effects are really helpful with that. Because nowadays often you just kind of work with like, like a very dark atmosphere and then like a detuned riser in most tracks. So I try to make it interesting by making it super reminiscent of those times. And then we got, yeah, I think it's just, classic 909 kick. Actually, I made this. This is a new KG one, but the clap is 909. It's just to trigger some sidechain. Yeah, a cool tip, put delay on a break. This is like a, what is it, dotted 16th or dotted 8th, I'm not sure. But it's gonna give it some cool movement, and it starts to kind of layer on itself, which makes it sound a little more complicated, but it's actually not, you're just delaying it. I think, yeah, this cymatics thing is the only thing I've basically copy pasted, which doesn't happen often, but it sounded nice. Having the kind of very tribal loops really helps, especially with like old electronic music. They really like to use a lot of kind of those percussion elements. What else we got? I think that's pretty much it. We have this 909 build, which is the R8 909, I think. And I like to do this effect where I'll basically have this auto pan switching thing. Because you have to. The 909 is very 90s. And that's pretty much it for the build. We do have like some, what is it? I think there is some automation to remove the low end. Might be wrong. Yeah, here. So as you go up, the low end starts to get removed. Just, remove some of the intensity and make it a little more washy. And when you get the endless smile, it all comes together. So that's the build, pretty much. And I'm pretty sure, yeah. You have this cool little break with the effects. Oh, there it is. That's the Milo sound effect. It's just like, and as you can see, I'm not doing like a typical delay where I just put a delay effect. I'm actually doing the effect manually, which I think makes it sound a little more choppy and old school like, which is often what they did back then. It would just draw with velocity. Lasers, because you have to. And this is also in Bach Fresh by Richard Jakes.
Now check out the wicked inspiration vibe.
Just because I had to. Same track as this, the pre-drop vocal. Then we have the woo, which I think it's just from a random sample CD that I got. And yeah, again, we got some Crow fake reverb to automate it, to give it a bit more wash, but a lot of that, the Endless Smile is doing a lot of the work of that. And it's just a standard first preset. Okay, there. That's pretty much, I'm pretty sure the build of that. Now we can get into the breakdown, which is, I think, one of the cooler parts. So this is basically just a jungle track that I made in 150 BPM. So I guess in that case it's more breakbeat, but it's kind of nice. I try to make it sound a little more video game-like with the melodies here as we go on, because it's more of a ambient type thing. Yeah, very crystally and super ambient. I love how this part came out. So yeah, the basic idea here is just to try to make it fit in. I'm on YouTube. What's up, research? Yeah, we're breaking down the breakdown right now. What? We're breaking down breakdowns. That's crazy. So we got like a sub boom here to just kind of ease it down a bit. In probably the most intense way. But that sub boom is going to sort of act as like a transition to the 808 sub that we use later in the breakdown, which is very common in jungle. So that's what I kind of tried to do. And what is it? The something I forgot to mention is that here, let me pull up the song because it's kind of cool. So like when I initially got into jungle, one of my favorite songs that kind of got me into that is this really cool mod file called Junglist, I'm pretty sure, by Prodigy. Not the Prodigy as in like the big, you know, the classic Jungleism by Prodigy. Not Prodigy as in like the you know, the band, the duo, or I don't know how many there are left. It's unfortunate, but the Prodigy, this random guy online made this really cool track called Jungleism, which has become one of my favorite jungle tracks and is basically what got me into kind of the 90s stuff. So I did a little homage by basically kind of copying the chord progression that he had here, but in a respectful way. I like to mention. What else? Come on, to the theater. Yeah, this part right here specifically. So I just wanted to kind of mention that because it's kind of cool. Because later in the track, I basically somewhat recreate the drums here. It's just kind of that very downwards sound, right? Where is it here? Let me look at the pad. So it goes really deep. So yeah, I just thought that was cool. But again, we got the same piano here. Arps. Basically sort of like a repeat of the intro, but without all of the lead stuff. And without the Reese, because we're going to move into the 808 stuff.
Here as we are, or somewhere else.
So Tal Sampler is a cool plugin by Tal. Is this the older version? What did I keep the old version? I have a more updated one nowadays, but basically it's just the 808 that I made. Actually, no, this is actually from Jungle Warfare, not the one I made. So it's a little 4/8 tonal. It is on Spotify. What's up, Yatel? It is on Spotify. Yeah, everything. I need to put more stuff on it. This is like my first proper release since Chain Diver, but yeah, no, I definitely plan on releasing more. What is it? Yeah, the 808 here, which is a lot more rumbly than I remember it being, but again, that rawness really comes into the jungle sound. I am doing that click, I think. Not? I thought I was doing the click. Yeah, the filter's up, so you get a bit of that. A bit of cutting through the mix with that. What is it? We also have this vocal, which also comes from. Actually, this one does come from "What About the Future" by Richard Jake. So,
I have faith.
which is also from Jet Set Radio Future.
Here as we are, or somewhere else.
It actually comes from like some weird Canadian drama show. It's like so weird. It's like I think it's called The Last Night or something like that. It's so weird. We do, yeah. And that's just kind of, you know, obviously adding that classic, very monologue sounding jungle sample. We got the pads coming back in with now breaks and stuff, and this Fantasia's playing a little cool melody there. Which again is just doing some cool modal interchange, action with this part here, just to kind of complement the chord progression, so you get some nice movement that goes well with it. And then I also add this vibraphone sample here, baby. And as you can see with this melody, I'm kind of like starting high, and then the bass starts to lower down here by 1, so you get over to that what is it? What's the word? The tension from the scale movement. And yeah, it all just kind of really comes together really well. Then we have the actual like piano solo here. Which is really cool. This is just me kind of punching in notes here, but I love these kind of very, downward movement melodies. And I always try my best to sneak in the Mitsuda lick here, which is like, it's basically almost like a video game version of the lick. But for those that know, Yasunori Mitsuda, who did the music for Chrono Trigger, I think some of Xenoblade probably. He's best known for Chrono Trigger, though. That's kind of like his main thing, and that very popularized that very classic movement where you go from like into the 5th of the scale. I'm pretty sure, right? 1, 2, 5. No, wait, what? Oh, we're not in scale here. I think this is supposed to be. What is this? We're in this section, so probably F sharp minor, maybe. Okay, yeah. So, no, what? Oh wait, the minor's weird. I'm thinking wrong. Basically, this cool movement where you do this trill from like a note, and then you do 2 little notes here into usually it's the 5th. I'm pretty sure it's like a very like nice resolution note. But this movement here, this little trill, I don't know, I just really like it, and it's very pretty sounding, so I try to include it as much as I can, because it's just like a very nice homage to a lot of those soundtracks that I really like. And what else we got? Yeah, a bit more of like a repetition here, but it goes into this, it goes back into, the F sharp, so it kind of ties back to the E minor here, because we're returning to the build, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Same thing. Yeah, the bass. Yeah, pretty much everything's the same. We're just kind of adding stuff onto it. And drums. Yeah, as far as drums go, they're pretty simple. It's just hot pants break. The classic Intelligent Jungle one. There's a bit more processing here. I thought so. I guess I'm not using the transient shaper. Drum bus to make it sound a little more, run down. By like a sampler. Normally I would use Taldeck nowadays, but I guess I didn't use it in this situation. I think this is a stretch version of the snare, was just to give it some nice stereo movement. It switches from left to right every repetition. And we have this, was it 727 bongos. Which is just a great way to give your breaks a little more organic element. And then this cool aim break, which I made as an homage to Jungleism by Prodigy. you can see the snare here goes up and then it kind of goes down at the end. You have this cool like little plastic crash. But it's a pretty simple aiming. It's nothing too crazy, just like your average kind of two-step-ish pattern, but not really. We have a bit more. It's just that this delay is making it sound a little more complex, but it's pretty simple sounding. It's very choppy too. There's a lot of kind of like a silence at the end of the kind of the bars here, or the little the E's and N's. I think this one is also in my sample pack. I might be wrong about them, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a great one I love to use. And then it just, you know, goes back into the build, pretty much the exact same thing. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten over the second drop. Oh my god. Oh yeah, we still have this. Yeah, the build's pretty much the exact same thing. All I did was just change the, I think I changed the fill a bit maybe here. Yeah, all I did was just give the vocal some frequency shifting to create that phasing effect. Pretty much the exact same thing. Going into the second drop is where it gets a little more interesting. The pre-drop melody changes here, as opposed to kind of the classic. It's a different resolution. Yeah, this thing was really cool. I love. For a while, I was like stuck on this track for such a long time, but eventually, I made this really cool like ominous type of donk thing, and it came out sounding super cool. So I decided to use it as like the main basis and make it very stylish with the way it interrupts the fill, which I really like. It's almost like a scratch type effect where you have this nice little playback, but also the drums change here, which I think in a very interesting way, because I introduce a snare instead, which rhythm snares have starting to pop up a little more, but I try my best to make it a little interesting. So I basically made an ominous snare, and then I try to make it a little more heavy, not so like, you know, kind of muddy sounding. I try to make it almost sound like it's a dubstep snare, but like in terms of the clarity, but you have a lot of that heft from the fundamental punch. So we have a bit of a fake out here. It's nothing too like hype, but I just wanted to make it a little more stand out for like, you know, first time listeners. I think this is the same process with the granulizer thing, or not actually. What? This is just a spectral stretch. I think it's just it's like a Skrillex growl that I processed in like a spectral way, and then I stretched it out using the grain size, which gives it a very kind of growly tone, or it gives a more kind of classic glitchy Skrillex sound. But I made it spectral, so it sounds a little more kind of interesting and modern. What else here? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the first hit. There's nothing. And then it goes straight into the ominous donk thing. So this is literally just like I think it's just like a random bit of audio. Let me just play this. I just want to play by itself because I'm curious to hear what it sounds like. What? Oh, okay. It's this bass. But I stopped it at like a mid transient, which makes it sound a little kind of more, you know, stabby. And then with all the processing, it kind of gets crazy. So what I have here is frequency shifting with kilohertz. is going to be the main kind of element here, because we're moving the shift up and down to create sort of like a weird bubbly melody. Actually, no, I think we're changing the timbre with that one. And then we're using another frequency shifter to change it up. I might be wrong. I swear there's something different about it. That might be later, but as you can see, like this kind of shift, the frequency shifter is going down. Oh yeah, and there's a bit of movement. It's like slightly going up. Yeah, there's a bit more movement here with the second half, but again, we're just giving it some crazy like OTT saturation processing to get a bit more of the stabbiness out of it. First, yeah, by itself. With some very muddy fat rack with disperser to give it a bit more juice. Resonator is going to make it sound a little more tonal and delay-like. Then we have grain delay to give it some freshness on top. Then EQ to remove all of that mud. So now it doesn't sound annoying. Sooth 2, and then Nasco's Smart Clip, which is a fantastic clipper. It's basically like the spectral saturation from Newfangled, but in Ableton. It's pretty awesome. So I like to do that on my basses now to kind of, you know, maintain a clipped waveform while still having a bit of, you know, not having that super distorted sound. Delay, again, we're doing the ping pong slapback effect. Yo, what's up, Aona? We're actually just finishing up the second drop here. I'm probably going to finish like in about 10 minutes or so, but it'll stay up, just to let you know. Delay, yeah, doing that, and then EQ. And then one more for the kind of sides and mids, which doesn't really matter too much, but I think is helps with the helps a bit with the kind of the low mids. And that's pretty much it. It's the same exact processing for the rest of the basses here, except from this this group here, which I don't think is even being used. So yeah, okay, pretty simple. The basses don't change. It's just the frequency shifts are doing all the work here. If you see the automation here, it kind of gets a little crazy. And then it goes into this like square 4 type thing. Which is just like I think it's just like some granulizer jam maybe. Yeah, totally. You can hear a lot of the kind of girth from that. You can hear a lot of the bubbliness in this section, definitely. Then it's the same frequency shifting automation, but we have a bit more movement with the rhythm here, so it like kind of adds some variation. That's like my favorite bit. It's kind of like some cool. It almost has like this call and response effect with the melody. It's pretty much it. It's a very simple kind of ending. We do repeat that kind of classic rave fill here, so that's basically the exact same as the beginning. Only thing different is the sub here, which is now has this vibrato, which is gonna sound like it's wobbly, but I think it adds to the movement of the whole the bass, because it's very very ambiguous, because the automation's kind of going very crazy. So it's basically the exact same melody as the first intro, but you now have vibrato, which makes it sound a little more interesting, kind of like it's all breaking down together. And I think that's pretty much it for the second drop. It's actually came out a lot more simpler to explain, but I guess that comes from just coming off of the first drop. As for like the elements of the effects and the drums, they're also practically the exact same thing. It's not even like any like new vocals other than like the fake out here, and the snare, which was just a ominous snare that I made myself. It's called Paul. I don't know why I called it Paul. And it's actually pitched down one semitone to make it sound a little deeper, and then Killer Transit Shaper does the rest of the job. That's a lot of attack. That's a lot of attack. Wow. It just makes it sound, it pops through the mix in such a cool way. Yeah, I really like this snare. I think it came out really cool. I think it's also in the pack. I might be wrong. Paul here. Paul is here, so you can get Paul if you want to. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the track. So the kicks are the same, the cymbals are pretty much the same. All of it is right there. You just have this little outro bit. And yeah, that's pretty much garegga. Oop. All this stuff is just like reference. As you can see, a lot of Sizzy. Pretty much only Sizzy. Sizzy's just awesome. Shout out to them for being very inspirational. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, all this stuff is just like stuff you automate, but they don't really matter that much. Like the auto pan is just to add this this effect where like I'm transitioning from the heavy stuff into more ambient. So you have the auto pan to kind of push it and cut it off. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's not much else to kind of break down here. So I think I'm gonna end it off there, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys liked the song. I think it came out really cool. It's for a while I've been trying to figure out how to merge those two kind of inspirations, and I think this is like the best example I've had so far. Obviously I have more music on the way, but they need a bit of work, so I'm going to try to release a song every month if possible. It's going to be very tough, but I really want to start getting into like a schedule so that way I can start be a little more consistent with my output, But these YouTube videos and the streams have been really a great outlet for that too. So yeah, just want to say thank you. I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, don't worry, this is all going to stay up. I'm not going to put this down or anything. It's just going to stay up. It's just going to be very unorganized because I don't know how to structure streams. So just good luck with trying to find sections, but don't worry, this is all going to stay up. Nothing will be taken down. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. I'll probably see you guys next week with a new video. I'm going to try to put out a video next week. Anyways, yeah, bye.